When it comes to the upcoming NFL season this year, who do you think is going to win Super Bowl 57 and why?
To be honest, I think it's going to be a rematch of Thursday's game. I think that the Rams are the best team in the NFC. I think Tampa's gone through too many injuries on the offensive line, and they're going to have to keep Brady upright. It's going to be very, very, very difficult to do so. Their secondary has been exposed a multitude of times, so unless they make adjustments, I don't know how that's going to work. Green Bay has no offensive receivers. I'm not worried about them. Minnesota doesn't have the experience. I think Philadelphia will probably fall short just because, again, Jalen Hurts is just not ready to make that jump. So when you really look at the top six, top seven teams in the NFC just from last year, I believe the Rams still beat those teams out without a doubt. And truthfully, I think that obviously it's going to come down to somebody in the AFC West in the AFC Championship versus the Buffalo Bills. I really, really have this weird gut stomach feeling that the Bills are going to look at last season and say that they should have been that team to go into the Super Bowl as the AFC. They are probably going to look at it and say we could have beaten Cincinnati. And I think Josh Allen's going to have an MVP caliber year. I know that he lost Cole Beasley. I know that Emmanuel Sanders is no longer there. I think Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis and I think Dawson Knox are going to have an absolutely incredible year. Obviously, they have Dalvin Cook's little brother at the third string tailback, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. They need to put an emphasis on running the football this year without their star franchise quarterback. And then, of course, with the defense getting better with the acquisition of Von Miller and drafting the number one pick, their number one overall pick out of, not number one overall, excuse me, their first round pick out of Florida and Elam, I think that he is going to add some significant depth to an already scary secondary. And I really think that they're going to ride that wave all the way to the Super Bowl. Now, who ends up coming out on top? It's very hard to repeat. It is very, very difficult to go out there and actually take that opportunity to go back-to-back Super Bowls in and of itself. Outside of the Chiefs a couple years ago, I think that the Buffalo Bills are going to take whatever it is that happens. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills will be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year against the LA Rams.
Kev, you basically took my thunder here. I got the Bills winning this thing too. To me, when I look at it, everything that I was going to say was going to be predicated on the fact of how hurt they probably were after that AFC divisional round loss last year to the Chiefs. Because to me, that is something that could spark a team to be a better version of what they thought they were last year. And that could just propel themselves all the way this year. And when I look at the AFC as a whole this year, the AFC is stacked. And the Bills are right in the mix with that. I think some teams you also have to kind of consider that are going to be a threat to the Bills this year. Obviously, the Bengals. The Bengals are coming off of a Super Bowl appearance last year. They lost to the Rams in Super Bowl 56. And the Bengals made some great adjustments on their offensive line to better protect Joe Burrow. And there's a very good reason for me to also say that, just because of that alone, that Bengals offense with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, can go out there and have a better year than what they had last year. You look at the Chargers out in the AFC West. You have Justin Herbert, who's coming off of a 5,000-yard passing season last year with great targets to throw to with Keenan Allen. They re-signed Mike Williams this offseason. And you have Austin Eckler out of the backfield. That Chargers offense is going to be super explosive and a dangerous threat to contend with going into this year. Obviously, just to kind of keep it in the AFC West, Patrick Mahomes is still a threat. I understand that there's been some turnover. Tyreek Hill is no longer there. They brought Juju Smith-Schuster in. So there could be a little bit of turnover with the Chiefs as far as their standing in the AFC West, but they're still a threat to me just because Patrick Mahomes is capable of being Superman and could carry that team as far as he's willing to take them. And then when you look at the AFC South, the only team that I could probably consider as a threat to come out of the AFC who's like going to be like a top team would maybe be the Titans, but even that I think is a stretch. I think the AFC South is pretty much kind of out of contention when it comes to being a legit contender
Hey,
for the
hey, hey,
top of
hey,
the
careful,
AFC.
careful, careful, careful.
Don't get me started with the Colts. I don't think the Colts are there yet. Maybe next year, but I don't think it's this year yet.
I
But
know.
and then to kind of kick it to the AFC North, it's just the Bengals to me. The Bengals are probably the only team I could say coming out of the AFC North that are really going to contend with any of the top tier teams in that conference. I don't think Baltimore is ready just because I think Lamar's going to be carrying that. He's going to be carrying the Ravens too much. The Steelers are dealing with a quarterback carousel with Mitchell Trubisky being the starting quarterback coming off of Ben Roethlisberger's retirement. I just don't see that happening. The Browns are not going to have Deshaun Watson for the first 11 weeks, so you can pretty much throw them out. And I think when it really comes down to it, I think it's going to come down to the Bills, the Chargers, and the Bengals. Those are the three top teams in the AFC this year, as far as I see it. I think the Bills are going to take it all the way this year. And Kevin, I could definitely see that scenario playing out where the Bills play the Rams in Super Bowl 57 out in Arizona. But I think this is the Bills' year, man. I think they have the requisite pieces to do it with Josh Allen at the quarterback spot, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, solid 1-2 wide receiver combo. And I think the addition of Von Miller is going to be huge for them. I think he's going to go out there and have 15 plus sacks this year and really be a force of just nature on that defensive side for them. And I think when it's all said and done, Kevin, I'm with you 100%. I think the Bills are going to be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year.